Hello, good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on what time the planet of the what time the part of the planet where you're residing. It's happy Friday. I hope you guys are enjoying the day. Today we'll be having another important, exciting, and information-packed edition of the Football Exponential Show. And I'm Kingsley, gonna be your host today. And on the show with me is Frank. Frank, want to say hi to our viewers?
Hi everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the show. Welcome back to another episode of the show. We're a bit rusty. The international break has spoiled our groove.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
when it seems whenever football is getting exciting, when you're playing week in week out Champions League games, then boom, international break just comes and just halts your momentum. Well, depending on what club you support. I know there are certain fans out there, especially the red of Manchester. They've had a few good days where they've not been stressed.
They needed the break. They needed the break, and
Yeah,
they settled
so
in.
so for so for other teams that have been doing well, it's nice to be back into the swing of things again. So yeah, welcome back.
Perfect. All right. For this edition, we'll be covering some, juicy topics, starting with the appointment of Tuchel as the new manager for the England national team, and then also Ferg was given the red card, and the red card of Manchester is out of job,
They told you
and
no more
who
free.
knows?
They told you no more free lunches here.
It will take his
They,
lunch pack away,
they told
anyways.
you. They told Fergie. They told you. Thank you for your services, but we no longer be needing you going forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be unpacking all of that. And then, of course, another thing that is read about the weekend is Liverpool would be hosting Chelsea in the mouth-watering clash of the Premier League weekend, in my opinion. One of the
Game
games
of
I'm
the
looking
weekend.
forward to.
Game of the weekend.
Uh, and then we will be going over to the interesting side of football in the Spanish La Liga with Barca hosting Sevilla and Celta Vigo welcoming the defending champions Real Madrid. So we'll be having all of those chats today, and of course we want to know what you think about it, and as well get your opinion. So let's get cracking. Tuchel coming in as the England men's national team coach. Does it mean there are no good English coaches there, or what do you think about it, Frank?
No, I feel it depends on if because when the news broke early this week, and so far there's been a lot of let me say a lot of outrage from the English media, the same old voices in English media, the same old ex-players who are now who have their various platforms, newspaper covers. They've been I feel they've been very aggressively against the appointments where I feel they've gone a bit overboard where we can't
They took our jobs away.
exactly foreigners taking our jobs. No. But, so I feel
Well,
it's like all those discussions they've been a bit over the top. So I'm happy we can get into this where we can bring in more balance and more nuance to this discussion because I feel it's something that if you look at it from all aspects of play, there's a lot of questions and a lot of answers in this whole situation. But I feel if we start from the very top, why Tuchel has been appointed as the new England head coach to start in January 2025. I feel the answer is simple. The talent pool of English coaches is just not up to scratch. It's just because
so
it's not up to scratch because I just before we start, just jotted down a quick list of names. So you're looking at the likes of Graham Potter, who's been out of football management for almost two
is
years
he
now.
still a manager?
He's still a manager, but
I thought he's probably
he's
golfing right now.
yeah, no, I don't know if it was the Chelsea experience that got me a bit jaded. So he needs some time to recover from that whole experience because it was quite traumatic for him. So you've got Graham Potter, you have Eddie Howe, who's current Newcastle coach, then the interim under 21 manager, Lee Carsley,
Mhm.
and I feel that's just the viable names I can really think about. And I just jotted down Frank Lampard and Gerrard. I put them together because they seemed like a package where these names, the only standout the only standout option here is Eddie Howe, where well he's currently in a job at Newcastle, and to get him out, you need to pay like a release fee, which then increases the amount you have to pay. Because I think Tuchel is not as high as historical England international coaches like Capello's and whatnot, but it seems on quite a fair earning package. But I just feel like the quality of or the talent pool of coaches England has to pull from is not just up to scratch. If you
Oh
compare
yeah,
that to
but
other,
yeah,
yeah,
but they've got the amazing Gary.
Um, Gary Neville's football coaching career speaks for itself. So I'm not gonna come here and try and keep our listeners updated what Gary has been up to because he's not been up to much when it comes to coaching. The same with Frank Lampard. The same with Steven Gerrard, who's in Saudi Arabia
Saudi.
now, who's cashing his chips and is living out the high life over there. But seriously, I feel like realistically you only have two options. That's Eddie Howe, or you stick with the current interim coach, Lee Carsley, and you try and go down the same path where you went with Southgate and where he gets promoted from the under 21 to the first team job. He comes in. I felt overall Southgate did a lot of things right with the England national team, taking them from where they were and the whole situation, inheriting that job from Sam Allardyce, who was sacked after just one game. And because I feel like back then England wasn't really in the best places in terms of the talent they had and the overall reputation they had in the international game. So I'll give Southgate a lot of credit for rebuilding the trust between the players, fans, and the media at large. But I feel at this particular point, I feel England need a more astute tactical manager, a bigger voice, a manager that has more charisma, has more winning power. And I feel Tuchel covers a lot of those points because as we've seen him at Chelsea and before that during the COVID season at Paris Saint-Germain when they got all the way to the Champions League final and lost to Bayern Munich eventually. So he's proven to be a very tactical coach that can handle the quick churn of games in that season, but also in tournament football where he knows how to set his teams up to counteract the opposition's strength, and he's also a very quick learner and a quick study on how to balance out or find remedies to solutions that arises. Because with Southgate, of course, you see the height of Southgate's success with England has been um, to the World Cup semi-final against Croatia, the Euro final against Italy, and ultimately the recent final against Spain, where in those games individually, at different points in those games, England either had the lead or they had equalized and they had the momentum to capitalize on capitalize in those games, but they just, for whatever reason, they didn't just get the job done. And with Tuchel, you get a manager who has this experience going up against the likes of Nagelsmann in Germany, De La Fuente in Spain, and there are South American coaches and whatnot. But he has that experience and that tactical understanding to know what each game might need at different times. Because England, they have the talent, so it will be an interesting situation to see. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I feel like before I can even go on to say how good of an appointment Tuchel's new role is, I think Southgate did a relatively good job. I do agree that yep, he could have gone the next level, which is win some of those trophies, lift something, have something to give back to the English fans who have been so much craving a trophy for a little bit now. But yeah, that didn't happen. But if you think about it from progression, right? He has progressively taken the English national team from what it used to be to what it is right now, which is, at the start of every tournament, they're going to be not just a big name on paper, they're going to be like, they're going to prove their worth through the tournament, although I kind of felt like they had an easier run in the last Euros. They had a lot of things in their favor, and it's not like one of those tournaments where you'd be like, oh yeah, they were fantastic. Um, But now that shows that there's an opportunity to build on. There's areas for improvement, and I think Tuchel is going to go in there and be like uh, leveraging his experience in English football, coaching Chelsea,
Yeah,
and also having, in my opinion, one of the most successful moments in his coaching career so far, which is lifting the Champions League trophy with Chelsea. Um, that is, in my opinion, the highlight of his career so far in terms of his managerial
yeah,
success.
for sure, for sure.
And yeah, so I'm doing that. I know that some of the players that coach in the English national team are not really in the English. Some of the players he coached in Chelsea's team are not in English national team right now. But at least there is still that respect that's gonna come from, you've done something for a club in the homeland. So I think those things will play in his favor. And like you mentioned, there are not a lot of better options out there. If I'm being very frank.
Yeah,
Um, at the moment, it's either you have to break the contract of some top level managers right now, or you go a little step, below Tuchel. So I still feel it's a fair appointment from the English FA, and also the duration of the contract I think is about 18 months or something like
18
that.
months. So it puts
So
focus
it's
on the upcoming World Cup in 2026.
exactly, so it's just, there was a short and immediate term um should I say, milestone for Tuchel to hit if he wants to continue to stay in this role. And then at that time of the year as well, at that time of the season in 2026, I believe more managers will be available. I think maybe the Peps and the rest of them will be available, and that could be a conversation worth exploring. But overall, I think it's a good decision from the FA. I think the British players should be excited and look towards that, and effectively, I'm excited to see how he's going to bring together the pool of talent because that squad is really talented right now.
For
They've
sure,
got
for sure.
they've got talents going forward. They've got talents sitting at the back. They've got talents. And I'm really hoping somebody can come and make a decision around Pickford being the number one. Personally, I think there's never a
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I
so
agree. But I also feel like it's a bit this like the situation with Harry Kane as well, where we have Pickford and Harry Kane. They've been two pillars for the Southgate era of the national team, where they've not more, more more often than not they've not let the team down. They've always performed for England. Kane has gone to big tournaments, scored a lot of goals. But I feel it's getting to a point where, especially Pickford, where he doesn't bring he doesn't bring the calmness to this England backline where he controls. He's a bit too emotional in terms of how he plays, and in the games against Croatia, historically against Croatia, Italy, and Spain, where those games are tight, you see Pickford just losing composure and just he gets and he has this bad habit where he just gets the ball and he just not pass it, he just boots it up the pitch, then surrenders
yeah,
possession to the opposition team because and that's what I feel like where Southgate really lacked was he wasn't really a possession heavy manager for England in those specific games. But I feel with Tuchel can find if not exactly if it's not phasing out Pickford, but finding out solutions to balance out that cause and effect situation with Pickford just not controlling the ball. But it's going to be, but I feel it's an interesting, I feel it's a good appointment because especially with the players, where the big English players with Jude Bellingham's, Harry Kane's, well, not Harry
hmm
Kane particularly, but Jude, Foden's, those kind of players, they go from being coached by the likes of Pep Guardiola, Klopp, Alonso, or even Tuchel last year with Harry Kane and Carlo Ancelotti with Bellingham. Then you're being coached by, let's to be fair, a substandard tactician in Southgate. But with Tuchel, you're getting the best of the best, where the tactical training will probably improve. So it take your game that extra level. I feel so. It'll be interesting to see how that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So moving on from one guy who just got a job to another guy who just got a job taken away from him, what do you think about the decision from Man United to ask for Fergie to step up his ceremonial role?
Ceremonial post. Yeah, like and it's important to call it as it is. It's a ceremonial role, and I feel this decision is. I believe a lot has been made about this whole conversation where it's not like it's not like they're taking Alex Ferguson to the back and executing him like they do in the Godfather and the Goodfellas. They're telling him, okay, is a slight nudge, okay, end of this season, we'll part ways from your ceremonial role. You lose I don't know if he's gonna I think he's gonna lose the ambassadorial role he has. Well, Fergie as a figure still is an ambassador for the Premier League, for Manchester United, wherever he goes, regardless of if it's an official title or if it's just him being around those games. But I feel this is, and I'll say something controversial, I feel this is a very good move from the new sporting ownership, or the sporting side of the ownership at Manchester United, Jim Ratcliffe and the whole brain trust over there. I feel this is, it seems they've come in and they're looking at the wage bill. For a long time. They've been United have had this opinion in certain corners that there are a lot of people at Manchester United, either on the pitch, in the behind the scenes, that are just not pulling their weight. Where you see they have this bloated number of staffs, where you look at it, okay, and it's been reported like he's making some um cost cutting some cost cutting has been applied to some members of staff off the pitch, where some people have been laid off, lost their jobs. He's coming and asked a lot of people who've been working at home to come into the facilities and work at their base. But I feel it's a very unemotional decision, and I feel that if you want to be successful in this business, you have to make those kind of tough decisions. And it's also a decision where we're seeing them trying to make regarding the stadium, because Old Trafford is, I feel like Old Trafford and Fergie that are in a way intertwined, where this this is a person and this is a stadium that carries a lot of weight in Manchester United. A lot of history has been attached to this to the stadium and the ex manager. But I feel right now it's, if you want to move forward as a club, you have to cut ties, rebuild, and take the club into the future. And I feel this is what you have to do. Just like and it's also hard because whenever you see United getting a bad result or getting beaten on the pitch, the camera always pans to one person, to Alex Ferguson. And I know it's not his fault, and he can't help but to be at those games and whatnot. But I just feel like we see it with as a winger. When as a winger left Arsenal, he said he just wants a clean break. And I'm not quite sure, but you don't see as a winger at Arsenal games. I don't know if that's a
100%.
I don't know if that's a conscious decision made by him or the club, but it takes away that extra pressure from the sitting manager, where Arteta had his troubles at Arsenal, and whenever those troubles were happening, the camera pans to as a winger in the crowd. It adds an extra layer of pressure to the job at hand. But the only issue I have with this is the whole communication of it. If could this have been done before the season started? And when is busier news cycle with transfers, a lot of coaching turnover, where it happens you put it out on the Monday, by Tuesday it's already gone. But you put it out. I feel they put out this news at the worst time possible during the international break, where it's very slow in terms of happenings in the football world. So I feel the whole communication of the events was a bit poor and a bit careless in my opinion. But I feel the decision is it's a fair decision going forward. They had to at some point they had to cut their ties to the past and build forward with this new Manchester United. But that's just my opinion.
I do agree with you for a large part of it, but I don't agree that the timing is wrong. I feel like it couldn't have been any better to make that
Really?
announcement now. Yeah, because again, you wanted to make the announcement after United just lost the game.
No, but what I'm saying, like the time is like I'm saying before the season starts. So like when
Yeah,
you
I
made
don't
so
even
you
think that. Yeah, I don't even think that the season has been totally assessed at the start of the season. And here's why I think so. Because if the season kicked off the way United anticipated, the players, living up to expectation and they're having a
a
better
good start,
output than
yeah.
what it is right now, they probably wouldn't really worry about that. I think what is going on is that the board at Man United are trying to look at how do we I think it might be too early to say they've written up the season, but they try to look at measurable. KPIs instead to think, you know what, what's the
Exactly.
best that can happen to us at the end of the season. So I think right now they've started planning for next season and maybe the season after. So they're starting the planning at the financial helm of things. And if you, like you rightly mentioned, they're also exploring a massive renovation in their stadium. They're also exploring increasing the capacity there and all of those
Oh,
kinds of things. So it's gonna cost.
and they're also exploring just building a new stadium entirely where that's going to cost billions of pounds. And they have this whole
Exactly.
they have this whole community that's chaired by one of your favorite people, Gary Neville, who's in charge of finding a solution to the restoration of Old Trafford. But it's this is what happens when big money gets into some clubs, or even as a club
Mm-hmm.
as big as United. You see,
Mm-hmm.
they start to cut a lot of existing members of staff and bring in their own guys in specific strategic roles that trust that they trust and have a clear vision of understanding. But I just feel Ferguson is what he's still he's going to be Mr. Manchester United
Yeah.
until the day until his last day on this plane. But I feel I just feel it's not really that big. It's not really that big of a deal, to be honest.
No, I don't think it's a big of a deal to be honest, but it has to be spoken about because of the figure
Yeah,
in
yeah.
question. And then
Yeah.
if you ask me from my external point of view, I don't know that. But to be honest, it's just how do I put it now? It's just the value for Fergie being the ambassador doesn't have to be paid for. That's how I look at it. Because everywhere he goes, if you have any iota of knowledge of football, you see Fergie, you think of Man United. So why are you paying extra for the ambassadorship?
Yeah,
It's already
yeah.
through and through that way. So, um, except there are other functions or other conversations or other initiatives that they expect from an official role of an ambassador that you and I may not be exposed to.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think paying for that role is strategic or masterstroke strategically in terms of
Yeah.
financial, especially when you look at the balance of wage bill.
But there's also another point in terms of we're not privy to what happens at board level. But I feel Fergie's had for a lot for since he retired as a coach, he's had a voice within Manchester United in terms of the decision making, in terms of coaches, players, and whatnot. So I feel is this a situation where like, okay, we don't need you making or bringing input to this decision making because it's quite clear historically. After he retired, he handpicked. There wasn't a board of directors that went through the process that vetted managers. Alex Ferguson anointed David Moyes to succeed him as head coach and as head coach at United. And that decision could you can trace United's whole entire downfall to that specific decision where you picked a manager that wasn't really cut for the job, but you picked it based on what specific criteria did you look at? Did you look at the data, the metrics, or is it just because of the relationship you had with this person being fellow Scotsman as well? So I feel like that moving to a more data based process where everything is analyzed, everything is thought out for long term strategy, and they just don't need a legacy act that Salas Ferguson, with all due respect to what's achieved and what it stands for. They just don't need him in those boardrooms making decisions or giving or having an input into the overall plan because they have bigger desires and probably they don't see on certain things. So it's just easier to cut that contract or cut that tie and just move on as amicable as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're also interested to know what you think about it. Please do leave your comments, smash the like button if you haven't smashed already. And I'll be curious to know if you're not already subscribed to the Football Exponential Show. Please go on and hit the subscription button and so you get alerts when we post going forward. But yeah, so moving out of that part of the red side of a particular city, and we're going to another red side of the Mercedes Liverpool game against Chelsea. How do you feel about that? Are you excited about that game?
Well, as a Chelsea fan, I'm very. This is sometimes there are some games that you see the games and you say, oh, this is going to be where this is tough. You circle those games. Are we at Liverpool for as a Chelsea fan? Are we at Liverpool? Are we at Newcastle? those kind of games away at Everton historically, where Chelsea have recently struggled. But I feel like this is going to be our first real test this season, and it's going. And also, you can say the same about Liverpool to an extent, where they haven't played any team that are sitting currently from the eighth position upwards in the Premier League. They played from ninth down so far, so it's a good test to see where both teams are, where they fit in the entire landscape of be it the title race or a
The
race for
Champions League qualification.
exactly a race for European qualification. So it's a game I'm looking forward to, but it's just I feel it's a bit disappointing that it comes just after the international break because it's quite a lot of teams, a lot of players takes a bit of an edge coming back from international break to this game that's of this magnitude. Because let's not forget these two teams have a lot of history and so a lot of bad blood going way back to the we're going
The
way back to
Gerard Lampard days.
Gerard Lampard, Gerard Lampard, Benitez, Mourinho days, and all that. So it's a fixture that has a lot of history in it. But I feel this is the test for both teams to see how where they stand. And with my Chelsea hat on, I feel I'm looking forward to the game to be honest. I feel we have a lot of things going for us. Our attack is looking good. Cole Palmer, the best player in the league, is it has been looking good so far this season. Noni Madueke, who's had a good start to the season, it would be interesting to see how he performs against Robertson on that left hand and
Hmm.
right hand side. Because I feel Noni Madueke is one of the best, if not the best, 1v1 attackers in the Premier League. So it will be interesting to see how that goes, that plays out. In terms of injuries, we've not really had Chelsea have a clean bill of health in terms of players that are fit, but they'll be missing two defenders, Mark Cucurella and Wesley Fofana are suspended for this game. So we'll see Chelsea's the
Is
strength of Chelsea's squad
is
on
Benji
show.
well fit and ready to play this game?
He's fit, but he's not going to play. He's not part of the plans.
Yeah, I know, but even with Cucurella out.
No, so I think with Cucurella, we will likely see Ruben Renato Vega coming in at left back, and at centre back I feel Tosin probably comes in as well, but which is also it plays in a is an interesting point because I feel the one issue I have with Chelsea overall is how they defend set pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and you obviously like Liverpool have this mountain of defenders, Van Dijk, Konate. They're very aggressive and strong in the air. They've been like we saw them against AC Milan in the Champions League where they both scored away at San Siro. So I feel with that extra presence Vega brings in and Tosin brings, it could help Chelsea counteract with that threat. But I feel I'm looking forward to the game, seeing how we cope in midfield with Caicedo against his ex teammates McAllister and Enzo Fernandez against his current Argentine teammates as well. So it will be
Mm-hmm.
I feel it's a game I can't quite predict. I feel it's going to be a game because so far this season both teams have not really had a full package of in terms of where they a full package in the game of 90 minutes where they start well and finish it from start to finish. There've been patches where they start well, whether they start well
There's
or
a
they
dip
fizzle
in
out
form
or
in the game. Yeah,
exactly. So I feel like this is and we both managers are very proactive in terms of how they approach the game. So it's not one of those games where you see historic games with Jose or Benitez where both sides just go out there to cancel each other out, play for a draw, hope for something of set pieces or moments of brilliance. I feel both teams will go for this, be aggressive with their approach, and I feel Liverpool are coming into this with the better form. They started the season best so far. I think they're I think they're top in the Premier League.
yeah, the top of the table
Yeah,
at the moment.
and yeah, they've only
Um,
conceded two Premier League goals so far.
yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
But
So
I'm also, yeah, but all of these, what if you think about it, Allison is out for this game as well. There's a big gap there.
yeah,
Uh,
but also he's like we've played in the last 3 years. We've played Liverpool in I think about four finals in four domestic finals. And in most of those games, Keller, Liverpool's second goalkeeper, has played in those games. So I feel it's not really that much of a disadvantage because he's come up with some big performances against Chelsea in the past. So I feel most times if the second goalkeeper is coming in, you have that, okay, can we test him? Can he would it be a worry for Liverpool? But I feel on this occasion, I feel it's just more of the same with both goalkeepers, either Alisson or Keller. Even personally, I'd have preferred to Chelsea to play against Alisson because I feel against
Why?
Alisson you can get something, but with Kelleher, I feel he's been clutch against Chelsea. Be it penalty
Mm.
shootouts, 90 minutes, extra times, he's pulled off some fan. Like he seems to turn into prime Buffon against Chelsea in finals. So it's a very weird situation. But I feel both teams are going to this into this game. You have Salah on Liverpool, Kopama on Chelsea side. Diaz has been fantastic as well. Madueke as well has been fantastic. So there's a lot of good there's a lot of good interesting
The
parts.
problem is, I think Jota is going to play this game as a striker.
Yeah, Jota's going to play as a striker, so he has that. But there's a very I think I won't say balance, but I think both teams have interesting sides and have enough tools on both sides that can hurt each other as well. So I, I don't know if what do you think? How do you think the game is going to play out, or in whose favor will it play out on Sunday?
I feel like it's gonna end up being a high scoring draw, maybe a
Yeah,
2-2, 3-3 kind of thing.
yeah,
I don't think either team has the full capacity to keep it tight at the back, regardless of Liverpool only conceding 2 goals. They've not faced the most potent of attacks in the Premier League this season so far.
with the best player in the
And
Premier League. They haven't come up against the best player in the Premier League.
well, the best player for last month, yes. The best player in the
Yeah.
Premier League is a total different discussion. I mean, the last time I checked, I don't think Haaland plays for Chelsea, so that's not the best season. So let's not even get there.
Okay.
But
Well.
yeah, I do, yeah, I do anticipate Palmer to have a good game there. I think those are the kind of games he would thrive in. There's going to be a little bit of technique here and there. It just
Yeah.
depends on who and the concentration level of the players who are going to be on both sides of the flank. You've said a lot of nice things about Madueke. I also think that he has been very top of his game this season as well. I kind of also like his output, right? So it's it's one direction in terms of going forward only. So it makes sense to have him start that game tomorrow, on Sunday rather.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking on the other side, the left wing, that is where I have question marks for Chelsea. Who do you think is going to start
So,
in that
so,
position?
so for the past few days, I've been going back and forth in my head. Or because so far, Sancho has started the last three Premier League games on that left hand side for Chelsea, but I feel this is a game for Pedro Neto to start, where I want that because it's a big pitch away around field. I feel Liverpool will we have more of the ball, or they will edge possession that day. But I feel Chelsea are very
Mm-hmm.
good, but they've been very good so far this season on the counter attack. And I would like to see Neto start on the left wing because brings in that more direct running, the pace, the dribbling. And this is a player that has, in recent years, played fantastically against Liverpool, especially last season with Wolves
Mm-hmm.
at the Molineux Stadium where he was man of the match. So I feel if we can, and with Trent's, how do I say this? With Trent's lack of defending
Defensive
awareness
awareness.
in certain areas or certain points during a 90 minutes game where you can exploit those spaces he leaves behind. And it's also like Neto is a very aggressive defender as well, defending or covering for his. Because let's not forget you're going up against that flank with Salah, Trent. That's a very that I think that's
Without
where that's
without Cucurella and Ventura.
with Chua is a non-issue. I don't want to see Chua starting this kind of game. I feel probably he'll be on the bench because Kukula is obviously suspended. But with I'm very confident with Chelsea's new boy Vega. I think Vega has established himself so far in the Premier League, and with Chelsea is growing a very credible reputation amongst the fan base. And I feel this will also be a big test for him because you don't come up against a player like Musala every day in the Premier League
Mm-hmm.
or even in world football where a player that is a very strong runner of the ball, he can shoot good on the dribble sometimes. So it's good to see at what level these teams are. So I feel as like you said, it could be a score drop, but I feel this game. I'm inclined to agree with you. I feel this might be another like a 2-2. Or we could just both be wrong about this whole situation. Chelsea and Liverpool play out a boring goalless draw like they have in the past. So it will
And I
be
don't think with both managers, I don't see the potential for a goalless
yeah.
draw. I don't see the need for either of any of the managers to be conservative. I'm pretty sure Slot will be looking to maintain number one after this week. That's when he starts to put his real title contention credentials on the table. I
Yeah.
also feel Enzo is gonna feel the need to be like, you know what, yep, the momentum is good. The camp is feeling bright. Let's keep it going. Let's go in there, put our best foot forward, etc. So, um, I anticipate really good attacking football, and I don't even think either team know how to sit back right now and just defend.
No, no, no,
Mm-mm.
no. They
I
know.
don't think they know how to
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
So if they come up with such game, it will be the first, and then people will start to take note of that. But again, just to bring it back to the midfield a little bit, I feel like the game will be won or lost in the midfield.
I agree.
Not like I just feel like you know what, the Salah can go on doing his thing, the Kopama can go on doing his thing, but I feel like
And
the tempo,
Grav,
how you
Gravenbeck,
control the game.
Gravenbeck as well.
Gravenberg
He's
has been spot on. He's been spot on this game.
so.
I feel like the big headache that would be could it be Gravenberg, Subosai, and McAllister running
I
things
feel,
for Liverpool.
I feel Liverpool. Well, well, on paper, I feel if everyone is fit or if everyone has returned from international break in good condition, I feel it's going to be McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch. Well, we see
Mm,
Szoboszlai when off the ball he joins Jota in the middle as the extra man off the ball to press,
mhm,
and you have the two in the middle, McAllister and Gravenberch. I feel
mhm,
in those
mhm,
situations that's when Cole Palmer and Enzo Fernandez if he starts because I'm a bit I have a lot of questions that I can put towards Enzo Fernandez so far this season. But I feel this is the game he has because now so far since he's been Chelsea's captain, and I feel
mhm,
he needs to go if he starts on Sunday. He needs to go there with the performance. Caicedo, I'm happy with Caicedo. Has been like you said with Gravenberch. I feel Caicedo and Gravenberch have been two of the better midfielders in Premier League this season, more consistent
mhm,
in terms of their passing, duels they win, tackling, covering a lot of ground, dribbling. They've been spot on. But I
mhm,
feel with like I know Liverpool have similar questions with Szoboszlai in terms of his overall creative output for the team, but in terms of off the ball, Szoboszlai works harder than a lot of players in Premier League, so he brings a lot to that department. But with Chelsea and Enzo, I don't know. There's a part of me that's a bit tempted to just go as keep it simple. You keep it. I'll go with two solid guys in midfield, Romeo Lavia and Caicedo. I'll leave
Caicedo.
Enzo on the bench. And Lavia and Caicedo, I'll leave Enzo on the bench. Then I have that midfield trio of Lavia, Caicedo, and Cole Palmer. There will be two pacey wingers, Madueke and Neto on the wing, and Jackson up top.
Jackson.
Jackson. Jackson. So it's
Team.
so I feel I feel Chelsea will create a lot. Chelsea will create a few chances. It's just how you take those chances away at Liverpool, the crowd, the momentum, and all that. It's just if Chelsea go there and be if they go there and perform, have a mature performance where they're resolute at the back and clinical on the counter attack and clinical with chances they get, they could go on there and nick it. But also it can also be another day where you go away to Anfield because also the Anfield of this or where it's a very tough place to go. But
Yeah.
you go away
Mm,
Anfield and you just sometimes Liverpool just steamroll.
blows you away.
Exactly, just get blown away by the momentum, the power, the pace, the running power they have in that team, the creativity, the goal scoring. So I feel it's a game that will tell us a lot about both teams. That will tell us where they stand in the Premier League. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, exciting.
Yeah.
One more question before we roll it out of Liverpool Chelsea. Who do you think will score first and why?
First, I think Chelsea will score first. I think I feel Chelsea will score first. I feel if how from what I've seen so far, Chelsea have been very on the count, especially on the counter attack. They've been very good on the counter attack, and Liverpool's only defeat so far this season has been at home against Nottingham Forest, where they come back from international break. They have a slow start. They don't really get going until the second half, and by the time they start get going, they already go down, and Forest defend perfectly and see out the game. So I feel Chelsea can go there on the counter attack or in transitions where you have Cole Palmer will be because I feel this is a game for him. This is a game of the all eyes on me slot when everyone's watching this game. I know he's shown his stuff, but I feel this is another opportunity to show why he's, in my opinion, the best player in the Premier League currently. So I feel Chelsea will score first, and it's a matter of how they manage the game from there in terms of defending and taking their chances or taking opportunities when it arises on the counter. So yeah,
Perfect. Yep. I do agree with you. I think Opama has the first goal in that game. I see a 2-2 draw or maybe a 3-3 draw. And there's going to be a lot of end-to-end football going on there. So rolling out from the English Premier League to the La Liga. We've
yeah.
got some interesting features coming up in La Liga this weekend. We've got Madrid going to Celta Vigo, a very tough stadium to be at. What do you think about that game?
Um, Celta Vigo have the last few years they've not been at their best. They've always been bottom bottom six in La Liga, just fighting to or just surviving before they get surviving and not getting relegated. They are now what's his name? Yago Aspas FC. Where whenever he's like I don't know how he's doing it. He's aged a lot, but he's still one of the better players in La Liga. He's still that guy to carry Celta Vigo through. But I feel with Real this is and with Vinicius, with Vinicius and Mbappe staying back for the international break, having that much needed rest to build chemistry, get that fitness up, recover from a little bit of knocks here and there. I feel this is where I would like to see Real Madrid, but just Vinicius, Mbappe, Jude go away and just do the business. I feel they'll win comfortably, but it won't be pretty because I don't. Right so far, this it hasn't been. Madrid have not been pretty to watch. They'll be more job like about their business, just getting goals. Courtois performance as he's always performed. I think he will make up fantastic saves as he's made so far this season. It'll be interesting to see what solution they have at right back with Carvajal's injury. I believe Vasquez will cover that position, which he brings in more an attacking dynamic to that lineup. But I feel Madrid should see out Celta Vigo quite comfortably.
Do you think the game and the Champions League midweek is going to be playing in the hearts of Madrid players?
Uh,
There's a
there's,
steaming pressure right now in in the UCL for Madrid to come back to winning ways. I think they're
yeah,
going to BVB, right? They're going to Dortmund for their next
they are
UEFA
playing Dortmund, but
Champions League.
I'm not quite sure if it's away or at home. I feel.
Um,
Let
I
me
think that looks
just.
like
They just keep talking. I'll check it.
yeah. So I think so they're playing Dortmund. Their next game is going to be another you know interesting game with all that it stands for right now. So I feel
Yeah,
like that would play in the back of their mind. But like you rightly mentioned, Vinicius getting the rest, Mbappe getting the rest and some party to it as well.
yeah.
And
He was
then
in. He was in Stockholm, living it up
yes,
apparently.
exactly, trying to get on the yellow colors as well. So we'll see if you bring that back.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
The last time I remember, Swedish national team have a yellow and
Yeah,
blue jersey.
yeah.
I will keep it at that.
Um,
Uh,
so Real Madrid are hosting Borussia Dortmund at the Bernabeu Stadium.
so okay,
Yeah,
so that makes it slightly, less of pressure coming back to Bernabeu after after the alleviation by Lille in the last Champions League game. So I think people kind of underestimate going to Balancias and going to the Celta Vigo home. And I don't think it's a walk on the park. But I do agree that I expect Real Madrid to come in, go in there, get the job done, got a couple of goals, and see out the game. That is kind of
Yeah,
what I expect that to be, especially
because
knowing that their Clasico is looming
exactly.
and this
So
is not the time to drop
you
points.
can't, because I feel if this game I think this game might just be as important as the Classico because it's always easy to look forward and see what's coming up in terms of the fixtures. And I feel this Celta Vigo is just as important as the Classico because if they don't get maximum points on the weekend and Barcelona handle business, it then puts massive pressure on Madrid to get results in the Classico. And you don't want to be going into that sort of game of that magnitude with the pressure on you to get results. Because if Madrid don't win the next two games, I feel that could. It's still early in the season. There's a lot of football to be played, but that would spell trouble
Yeah, no, that's
if I
going to
was
be a
Madrid.
lot of pressure because,
Yeah,
I feel like regardless of what happens, Madrid would always make it out of the qualification round in the Champions League. That is almost as good as guaranteed. But in the league right now, a draw, Celta Vigo is a bad result for them as of now.
that's a disaster. A draw this weekend would be a disaster.
Yeah.
Especially Barcelona gets a good result as well.
Yeah, so speaking of Barcelona, they're not having it any easier as well. Barcelona will host Sevilla um, in Barcelona, and there is going to be a lot of things to look out for in that game. You
Okay,
have injured players coming back. You've got players who should have been rested but had to force a rest. You've got players who are reportedly to have slight knock, and we'll see whether or not they'll make it into the starting 11. And you've got Sevilla in very good form as well. And also with a Nigerian pacey winger who has been, I think the one,
Ejuke, yeah.
Ejuke has been the one with the most successful dribbles. So it's going to be like flair, space to run into.
Yeah.
And most importantly, the big questions people ask when you play against Barcelona is, can you beat the offside trap? And there will be all of that to look into on Sunday in the Spanish La Liga. So for that game, Barcelona Sevilla, who do you think is going to come out top?
Well, I think it will be interesting to see the what 11 Barcelona put up because, like you said, there's been a lot of reports of players coming back to fitness. A lot, and Yamal who left the Spanish cap on the international break early with reportedly an injury, but
Fingers all up.
exactly, but it's that situation where you're not sure if it's just a precaution or a precaution to manage the players' minutes or there's a genuine injury concern there. But I feel if and with Lewandowski as well, I believe, who's
Yeah. Yeah.
he
The
missed Poland.
Lewandowski one is a bit interesting because the game before the last international game, right?
Yeah,
It was reported that he had, some pain, right? And for that reason, the coach sat him out and then brought him in with about 30 minutes that they were about to go, and he left the pitch limping.
is
And
this for Barcelona or
not
for for the
for the Polish
for the
national
Polish
team,
national
right?
because
Yeah,
he missed that second
he
game
didn't
with this
start, but he came in. He came
he
in. He
came in
came in.
okay.
Yeah, he came in.
So
Yeah, he contributed. I
so I
think he
so
gave the assist to the goal.
so I suspect to be okay to start. Um,
Yeah, and
Rafinha, who's coming back from Brazil, he's had a fantastic couple of games with the Brazilian national team, representing or performing in the absence of Vinicius Junior, which is interesting. Well, so I feel he's gonna come back and continue his rich vein of form. But I feel this game I can look further than a Barcelona win, and not just the win, but by how many goals they will get on the day. Because Sevilla they're not the best defensively. They're not that they leave. There's a lot of gaps in that defense, a lot of lapses in their defense. They carry good counter attack counter
threat.
attacking threats, with Belgian winger Donny Luca Bacchio. He's
Yeah,
been
look, Mbappé's been having an amazing
yeah,
season.
he's been having a good season so far. So I feel Barca win it. And just with preparation to that game in the midweek against what Barca playing in the Champions League.
Bayern Munich, they're hosting
Okay,
Bayern Munich
yeah,
on in their next midweek game. And the funny thing is this, right? That is why I feel like the coach might be heavy on rotation because you play Bayern and Real Madrid in like with about 4 days or thereabouts.
yeah,
And imagine having Sevilla as your easier feature in the next three features is very crazy. Because Sevilla in itself is not easy. But that being said, Frankie de Jong returned just before the international break. Started to get minutes here and there. Ferran Torres has a red card, so it's absolutely will
yeah.
back for that game. And I hope that this does not serve as an incentive for him to play any of the bigger games. And then you have Ansu Fati coming back, getting gradual into fitness. I think how Victor deserves a chance in this team.
Yeah.
Um, and then Lewandowski is gone blazing for Barcelona right now. I think giving him a rest might be counterproductive. Daniel Mo is training back with the team.
Yeah.
Gavi is training back with the team. I don't expect
So
him
that there are a
to
lot, four
start
lot
this
players
game.
coming back. Yeah.
So yeah, but the point I'm making is there's a lot of options, but then what drive those options is what is where the concerns come
Yeah.
because
Where you
if Flick starts
balancing
to think
out.
about if he starts to
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
about Munich and the Madrid game, I hope we
Yeah.
don't see an Osasuna
Yeah,
Osasuna
exactly.
lineup.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough. But like as you said, there's with having a lot of options, you don't have to make a decision. So regarding Barcelona's starting goalkeeper, and it's who's your Szczesny has come
Claudio,
up. Szczesny has officially joined Barcelona. I think he's trained
yeah,
this last couple of weeks as a Barcelona player. Do you feel Flick would be do you feel there's a decision there for Flick to make regards the number or this regards the starting goalkeeper of Barcelona?
yeah.
Does it
So
stick? Does it stick with Iker Peña or bring
like,
in
um,
Chesney?
I honestly think here's my thought process here. Kennedy is obviously going to get the number one shot going down the road, right? But now, given the next three features, you want him to feel warm and welcome in the presence of your home fans, right? And that game is Sevilla. And right after that, you're having one of the highest pressured game. I mean, we know all of Chelsea's credentials. We know he's done it at the top level. But still, the next game against Bayern is still at home, right? But still more
That's a big
pressure,
game. That's
a
I
very
guess
big game.
serious firepower with Bayern Munich, Harry Kane, Olise, Musiala, all that. Yeah, that's
Exactly. So that is why I feel like Chelsea is going to start the game against Sevilla, and that is just so that he can warm up. Right. He can warm up. He can get attuned with the atmosphere. He can get in tune with the fans. He can get the rhythm going. There've been nice reports that came out, saying that he doesn't even feel like he retired and all of that. But again, the interesting thing is as a goalie at the end of the day, not a lot of physical pressure on, how much of the fitness is there. I know as long as the strength and good condition,
it's more mental than
it's more
yeah
mental, it's more also
concentration.
concentration, understanding how it is, how the movement of all the central backs and all of that. And
Yeah.
and those are the things that are going to play a bigger role, right? So I think he's going to start the game. Unfortunately, the goalkeeping position is not one of those that you want to substitute mid-game if nothing is wrong. So I
Well,
see him starting.
it could be if you
Yeah,
it's not impossible, but
yeah,
do you
but if
feel but it's I'm a bit my only issue would be because if you make that decision to bring in Chesney, that will have a negative effect on
Mhm.
in that Penna. And if a situation was to arise where Chesney doesn't meet the standard or doesn't hit the ground running, and you've already undermined Penna, are you then stuck with two goalkeepers who one isn't quite ready yet with Chesney and one's confidence has been destroyed to say. So how do you feel like
Like there's
you
there's no
you
other way to say it. Last game, I just have to go in a little bit harder here. So there's no two ways around it. Last game, Premier
pause?
didn't do a lot with his didn't do a lot with his confidence, right? We did win the game
Yeah.
with a clean sheet, but it was very erratic against Alaves. So if you're talking about confidence, I don't think he has a full dose of it right now. And if
So
you're
you
looking at yeah, if you're looking at Chesney going in and having a bad start, then you keep trusting him because the other person is not at that level.
yeah.
Let's just call a spade a spade.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Because
uh,
yeah, I agree. I agree. Because I feel
yeah.
this is where you just sometimes you just and I always have trouble with coaches where they refuse to make a decision. They're just like, okay, you play in
No,
the cup, you play in the league, that kind of situation. Just I feel like Chesney will if whoever starts on Saturday, I feel that's going to be
mhm.
the goalkeeper for the next two games against Bayern Munich and Real Madrid.
Not
That's what I'll say.
necessarily. Not
You don't
necessarily.
think so?
No, not necessarily. Because
Okay.
if Chelsea doesn't start against Sevilla, right? I still
Yeah.
don't see Payne starting against Bayern Munich. That's absolute
Okay. Okay.
disaster. I don't see
Okay.
him doing that, right?
Okay.
So, and I definitely don't see him starting against Real Madrid, except there's something wrong with it. Chelsea has to be horrible for that to happen at this point.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well,
So,
that's I think that's something to watch out for.
yeah. So, another interesting thing about that game is I feel Yamin Lamal might not play the full minutes there.
Oh
I
yes, yeah,
think
of
there might,
course.
yeah, I think there might be caution. So there's a big question around: do Barcelona want him to start? We want to give him some rest here and there. I also expect the same thing with Lewandowski. I don't expect him to play the full minutes. Like even Pedri and um and and Kunde, those are players that you cannot afford as a Barcelona fan. You cannot afford anything to happen to them in the
Yeah,
next
those are
month
big
or
players for
thereabout. So those
Barcelona.
are big players for Barcelona. So uh,
Alongside Pedri, because I think Pedri he didn't play a lot of minutes for Spain.
yeah,
There was a
he
lot of
got deserving
there was a lot
rest.
of
He got some
there
rotation.
was a
He
lot of
started.
rotation for him.
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah,
start the
so
second game. He came in at around 66 minutes. He played well as always. But again, we're calling all of the players and we're forgetting to mention Rafinha. Rafinha is the guy that goes in with all the work rates. I think he traveled the furthest distance of all the players that we mentioned.
yeah,
Um,
but it's just yeah, yeah.
and people almost expect him to start. I think of all of them, he deserves the most rest right now.
I feel I know from the outside looking in, and correct me if I'm wrong or give your input. I feel Yamin Lamal and Lewandowski have gotten the credits, the headlines, the accolades, and all that. But I feel Rafinha has been Barcelona's most important player this season. Not best player, but I feel their most important player is because surprisingly he's on the pitch, the on-field captain these days, with the absence of
Yeah,
certain players, and that responsibility, and you see his overall work ethic, the pressing, the ground, like you said, the ground he covers, he sets the tempo for his teammates to follow in. So I feel he's been the that player that has helped Barcelona transition to flick as a flick ball quite quickly, where he's brought in an extra ingredient to his game where he's not because he's always been a fantastic player, like he
yeah,
scores goals great, but now he looks like a Barcelona player, and in the past, yeah, there was always the accusation like does he fit into Barcelona? Is it too big for him? But I feel right now he's looking at that level where you say the Pedros, the David Villas, those sort of players where he's hitting that stride right now.
yeah. And the truth is this, right? With Rafinha, any Barcelona fan that wants to be honest, if you go by numbers, Rafinha has never had a poor number since he joined Barcelona. He's been, in around first three in terms of contribution when you look at goal and assist. But the thing is that there were things that Xavi demanded for him in Xavi's style that wasn't quite practical for Rafinha. I wouldn't put my money on Rafinha to be that guy to beat anybody one on one.
No, he's never been that
It's
player.
not like that.
He's
But you see, arriving at the box at the right time, running into the space, running in behind the defender, waiting for the ball to float in.
final
And guess what?
pass.
He's quite impressive with the one-on-one rate conversion. He makes sound decisions there. He knows when to play in between the keeper's leg. He knows when to lob it
Exactly.
over. He knows when to flick it with his head. He's made those kind of very very first line like you know um contribution. But impressively, he goes up and about on the pitch. Like it's mouth-watering to think about a game where you would have a Rafinha, or Macacedo, and a Gavi all on the pitch. I just feel like the oppositions are going to have a hard time keeping the ball. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so because the pressure is going to be intense, he starts pressing from the front, and if he's not getting in the front, pressing all the way to the back. So the only thing I have against Rafael's game at the moment is I feel like football has progressed beyond the point where you have a left footer coming from the left wing. You get what I mean? So
Yeah, I know,
if
but he's not. He's like also like he's a bit like what's this like Chelsea's Noni Madueke, where I honestly like you're quite right, but I feel he doesn't. It's not a weakness in his game where his right foot is quite serviceable, where like with the right chance presented to him, the right position on the right foot, I'm sure he can execute the pass or the finish. So it's very because even when he was in Premier League, he was one of those players that could play on the left, play on the right. Sometimes play behind the striker. Sometimes when under Bielsa played as a number nine because he's a very intelligent footballer. Like it's
yeah,
very and it's I don't know if it's me being harsh on the new school of Brazilian players coming through where I can't really most of them are more direct, like direct to goal, that
mm-hmm.
the direct movement. But I feel he's that player that sometimes yeah, I won't be surprised if at some point in his Barcelona career or his footballing career he retreats into central midfield to go play in the center or play in the
Yeah,
pockets
yep,
or
yep, yep.
to play in the half space. Is a very because I know like notoriously Chelsea were in for him when Tuchel was still head coach, and the idea then was to get him to come and play one of those number 10 positions, but also provide cover as a left or right wing back because it's a very
Wing back.
it's yeah with Tuchel yeah
Ooh.
because Tuchel always had that
Mm.
but then with Tuchel's wing back system if you're playing a wing back you're effectively a high you're still a forward playing high up the pitch,
Yeah,
providing weight and providing creativity. But so far, it's one of the players I've enjoyed watching this season.
yeah,
As I said, Barcelona, I think one of Barcelona's so far an important player in the Barcelona cog this season. So that's just
yeah.
giving him
So I'm a bit worried about his output for this game because he's played his best football coming as a CAM this season. Either replacing Daniel Moore, starting before Daniel Moore, or making those mid-game transition. So, but I feel like if Daniel Moore makes the cut to this game, I feel like it's
yeah
going to be pushed to the left
he
wing,
goes wide.
and that's where it gets interesting. But
Yeah,
if Ansu Fati is fit, I also don't put it past, Lamine getting a rest and Rafinha starting on the right wing, Daniel Mo is
okay,
here, and Ansu Fati playing left wing. But we'll see. And
okay.
so, what would be your final prediction for that game?
I think this is a Barcelona 4-1
For
victory for Barcelona. Yeah,
okay, perfect.
I feel it's one of those games Sevilla will sorry, we get a few chances on the counter attack. Or with Barcelona's just with the nature of the game state, they probably get a few chances. How if they take those chances, I don't know, but I'm quite confident with Barcelona's overall attacking unit to handle the business, to create chances and finish off those chances. Because if Barcelona can put even for 60 minutes Lewandowski, Yamal on the pitch, I feel those two alone would win Barcelona the game. In terms of their goals, creativity, assists, and whatnot. So
Okay,
I'm quite
perfect.
as much as I hate to say it, I think I feel Barcelona will get the win this weekend.
All right, perfect. I also agree with you. I think I don't see a clean sheet there because Barcelona have picked in a few goals
Yeah,
this
yeah.
season. I don't see a clean sheet. I expect a high scoring game. Maybe not 4-1, maybe 3-ish. just because they're coming back from international break.
Yeah,
If they wrap it up quickly, they can start, substituting players and start giving other players some opportunity to come and get the feel right early
okay.
into the game. But we would see. But I think that is a wrap. But we would like to know what you guys think about the prediction. We'd like to know what you think about the game. Let us know what you think would win Liverpool Chelsea game, what the scoreline would be. Let's see. Are you as confident as Frank that Real Madrid would go into Sevilla and get the job done? I know some people don't like the high flying Barcelona this season. Let us know if you think this is the game that would start to clip their wings, or if you expect them to keep marching on. Um, and we want to see your overall reaction with what you think about Alex Ferguson losing a job that wasn't a job. And let me know
Thomas
if you're
Tuchel,
excited to see Thomas Tuchel in his next England game as the manager. There's a
or
lot
are
of
you
things
worried,
here.
or are you worried foreigners are taking our jobs?
Jobs. let,
Taking our
let,
jobs.
let us know where you stand. And if you haven't liked the video, go on, hit a like, click the like button there. And if you've not subscribed, go for it and let us see your comment. Frank, just before we wrap it up, is there anything you'd like to say to our esteemed viewers?
Thank you again, listeners and viewers, for their support. It means a lot to us. And also, I believe in the lead up to a classic, we're going to be doing a big Barcelona and Real Madrid focused recording. I feel so. Keep an eye for that.
I
So
will be there.
I think that's gonna be big, and that's gonna be a big and interesting piece we do here on this page. So keep your eyes on that. So thank you again, and goodbye.
Until next time, take care, guys.
Okay, bye.